bumper.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of No Credentials Required. This is a special Friday edition. And again, welcome to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We're presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Godzilla Media. And hey, Bishop Bullwinkle, do you need a press pass to talk sports?
Woo! Hell no. To the no, no, no. Hell to the no. Hell to the no. To the no, no, no. Listen.
Oh, sorry, I got caught up in worship there.
That can happen. It can happen. It'll sweep over you. We
That's
got
right. When the spirit takes over, you know.
Yeah. So it's you and me and Bishop Bullwinkle riding for this playoff pod. This is a special edition of the playoff pod of No Credentials Required.
Playoffs.
Playoffs. I should try to find that soundbite. It's a classic.
Oh, I'll find it. But before we go on to tonight's episode, we're going to remind you about our social channels: Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at NoCredsREQ, Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ, and YouTube.com/ at NoCredsREQ. If you're watching on either Facebook or YouTube, and yeah, even Twitter, give us a like. Especially on YouTube. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way you know when the videos will play. On the podcast side, our hub is at Megaphone, but you also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Play, iHeartRadio, wherever you prefer to listen to your podcasts. And rate and review. Give us a 5-star rating. That'd be great. Review it. We might even read it on the air. And as always, if you're listening, or if you're watching, whether it be live or on the replay, we want to hear from you during the show. And I'm going to play that beautiful, beautiful bumper that we always have. Dustin, I know you've been waiting all day to hear this sound.
I have.
Gotta play it. That's right, folks. Engage with the show. Again, whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, engage with the show. We want your comments. That way people know that this show exists. And it's a great show.
Yeah.
As I might say myself. And I got to give a special shout out today. I got to give a special shout out to my niece, Bella. I know she's a big fan. I know she's watching right now. My niece, Bella, got her license today.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations. We have a new driver on the road now.
Officially a driver on the road. So we are going to comment Wanko for the saying, "Who day, bitches, Cincinnati in the house." Hey. Well, we'll talk about the Bengals and the Chiefs a little bit later, but first we want to focus on the early game on Sunday, which is 49ers at Eagles, 3 p.m. on Sunday. 49ers travel cross-country to play the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC Championship game. This is going to be, I think all four games, all four teams.
Yeah.
All four teams have an equal chance to make it to the Super Bowl on Sunday. This is going to be the fun game. This is a game a lot of people are I'm finding concentrating more on than the other game, because this is the marquee game between two teams. One of them's coming in, I think, on a 12-game winning streak. The other team went 13-0, and then it kind of limped their way into the home field advantage. But now, if you watch last week's game against the Giants, this team looks like they're on a mission. And actually, both teams are on a mission. They have their eyes set on Glendale in 2 weeks. But Dustin, I want to get your opinion on this. Look at this game. What's the thing? What are the things that are standing out to you most in terms of this matchup?
Well, this is This is a classic case. First, at the risk of sounding like I'm from 1922, this is going to be a dandy. I think this is going to be a dandy. We got a real, I mean, both games, but like you, I am gravitating towards this game. But for me, this is the classic. I want to see, and I'm having a tough time. I've been thinking about it, and I'm having a tough time getting a real feel for this matchup because this is the classic tale of the unstoppable force meeting the immovable object, right?
Mm.
I think the key will be. I would give the edge to. I think the outside matchups are going to be a deciding factor in this game. The 49ers have been able to stop the run almost against anybody. It'll be interesting to see if they can stop the run in Philly. I think they will limit it to some degree. I think they will slow down the rushing attack. That was something that really hurt the Giants last week, along with everything else. But I think when you compare San Francisco's corners to the matchups with Philadelphia Eagles wide receivers, I think between Dallas Goedert, AJ Brown, and Devonta Smith, I think Nick Sirianni is going to scheme up some ways to get his Eagles receivers the ball, because I do think to some degree the Niners defense, as great as it is, they're going to have to focus on Jalen. You can't leave him alone with room back there, because he can either throw it and hurt you, or we all know he can take off.
Yeah.
So honestly, I think that's going to be the wild card. If Philadelphia's receivers can outplay San Francisco's corners in this game, then I think that's going to be the difference. And I want to say that Philly comes away with a W, but on the other end, you can't discount the 49ers offensive weapons as well. And on the flip side, Philly's defense has been great all year, but just looking at it on paper, I just feel like San Francisco has the edge defensively, but in my opinion, these two teams are very evenly matched. But you got to give the edge to quarterback play. No disrespect to Brock Purdy and what he's done. You got to give the edge to Philly. And so I think the quarterback play and the wide receivers are going to be the difference. I think Philly comes away with the victory here.
So I found this nugget the other day. I was watching my friend of the show, Chris Honorado and Ashley Miller from Channel 13. Shout out to Honorado and company. I know they're watching right now. Big fans. But Chris Honorado had a very interesting nugget in that Brock Purdy is the first rookie. He's not only the first rookie, he's also the first third string quarterback, and he's the lowest draft pick ever to start in a conference championship game.
That's amazing.
That is an amazing stat. And again, shout out to Chris Honorado for that little nugget. But it's going to be interesting to see how Brock Purdy performs in this game. First half of the game of the wild card against Seattle, he wasn't himself, and then the second half they made the adjustments and they moved on. Last week against Dallas, he played well enough that he didn't mess things up, unlike his counterpart Dak Prescott. Those two ill-timed interceptions that turned the game around. And in this game, it's going to be different because Philly likes to bring pressure on defense. They have to bring pressure up the middle. And what do rookies have a hard time with? Rookie quarterbacks have a hard time with? They have a hard time with pressure coming up the middle.
Yep.
Hey, Rod Peterson. Sub. Thanks,
Hey,
Rod.
thanks for the sub.
Yeah, and all the
Appreciate it.
way, just as a segue here, so speaking of subscribers, having a little scroll moment in Rod's in the words of Rod Peterson. I'm having a scroll moment. We are now at 206 subscribers, now 207 subscribers on YouTube. So thanks to everyone who has subscribed over the last couple of weeks. Our drive to 200 has paid off. So back to business. But it's going to be interesting. I give the edge to Philly just solely based on their defensive line. They can bring pressure up the middle. They have the advantages in the middle. They can bring up pressure in the middle. They can stop the run. They're one of the better run stop defenses in the league, as is San Francisco. Actually, San Francisco is the top run
Yes, they are the
stuffing
top.
defense in this league, and that's where I see the edge. But I still see the edge to Philly, just solely based on their defensive line, because again, 49ers have a great defensive line too, but that's where the game is going to be won. It's going to be won in the trenches, which is, again, as a former offensive lineman, that's where you want to see. That's where the games are. That's where the games are won, in my opinion. Because if you have a great offensive line, great defensive line, you'll be gravy. And both these teams have great offensive lines and great defensive lines.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be the better of the two games if you love defense. Love defense, because this is going to be a low-scoring game. I don't think either team's going to find much room in terms of their run game. Yes, Philly's versatile with Boston Scott and Gainwell as acting as kind of the Deebo Samuel of the Eagles, but I think it's going to come to, for the closest plays. I think it's definitely going to be a last possession game. I'm going with the Eagles in this game. I think they have what it takes. I know San Francisco, great year, great streak, but unfortunately, I think it's going to come to an end in this game. I think Jalen Hurts is going to have the game-winning drive. He's just going to eat down the clock. He's got too many weapons. He's got A.J. Brown. He's got Devontae Smith. He's got Dallas Goedert. He's also has the option to run if he needs to run, and he's a great running quarterback. But he's also developed his pass game. I was listening to Snowman in the Morning this morning. Give a shout out to my buddy Sam Shady, who is all about the Eagles. He's a big Eagles fan, but he also loves the National Arena League. So he said it pretty succinctly in that not only has crap, I forgot his name escapes me. Oh,
Jalen Hurts?
Yes, Jalen Hurts. Oh my God.
There we go.
I got so off track. So Jalen Hurts, not only has he a threat, he's become a threat with his legs, but also his arm this year. He did some extra work in the offseason, unlike some other quarterbacks in New York that I know. And he's become, I personally think he'll win the NFL MVP on the season, based on the season he's had. But I give the edge in terms of that to the Eagles too, and I think the Eagles will win in a close one. My final score prediction, I don't have the lines in front of me because I forgot to do that before we went on. But I think it's going to be a low scoring game. It's going to be 21-17. I think the Eagles are going to punch their ticket to Glendale.
Okay. All right. Clearly I'm horrible at picking scores. Good thing I don't bet. I thought the Giants Eagles was going to be 30-33 last week. I thought it was going to be a barn burner.
But, yeah, I thought the Giants were going to beat the Eagles too, but look how that turned out.
Yeah, I have the same. I at least picked the Eagles for that one, but man, it's not going to be 38-7 this week. That's for sure. I think it'll be. I think your score. I'm not just trying to piggyback it, but I was thinking maybe 2017, something like that. So I will.
That's
go
what I was
with,
thinking too, but I'm like 21-7. It's gonna be
21-17. Yeah. I'll go with
final touchdown.
I'll go with 21-17 as well. But I would like to say something. There is some narrative out there. I've heard it in some places that people are comparing Brock Purdy, because he has all the weapons around him. They're comparing Brock Purdy to Trent Dilfer. And I think, and in no disrespect to Trent Dilfer, he's got a ring, but we all know how he got that ring. He obviously,
everyone knows how he got that ring.
and he obviously, you have to be able to play quarterback at a certain level to make it to the NFL. So he could play quarterback in his day better than a lot of people. But Brock Purdy is not Trent Dilfer, in my opinion. Brock Purdy clearly has shown that he is not just handing off the ball and not throwing interceptions. Brock Purdy has done some things in some games to make some plays on his own to help the 49ers advance to where they are. So I just wanted to dispel that narrative a little bit. Brock Purdy is not Trent Dilfer. I'm looking forward to this game. It's going to be a good one.
And as you can see on our banners, we have our personal Twitter handles below. Mine is at whoisRyanMCC. Dustin's is at LDusto67. If you think we're wrong, or if you have a point you want to make, whether it be during the show, after the show, if you can't leave a comment on YouTube on the replay, just tweet us.
Yeah,
just tweet us. We want to hear your opinions. But as we know over the last couple of weeks, Dustin, Rystradamus,
yes,
he's been known. There's that sound again.
Hear it. I think I just saw the lights flash in your room there. I think something's going on. You're harnessing the power.
I'm harnessing the power of Rystradamus right now. I think the Eagles will get at least 4 sacks in this game on Brock Purdy. Like I said before, the 49ers offensive line has done a tremendous job protecting Brock Purdy over the past 2 months when he got that start, when he came into the game against Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And he's been playing spectacularly. I think the Eagles will get after him early. They'll rattle him a little bit. I think he'll, just like last 2 weeks, he'll gather himself together. But I think that early pressure is going to make a big difference in this game.
Yeah.
And we both agree we're both picking the Eagles to win this game. And but as for me, I think it's going to be, I just want to be entertained.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to be entertained this weekend. Last weekend's games, with the exception of the Chiefs Jaguars, not very entertaining.
No, not really. Not really.
My humblest, yeah.
And I remember I was so excited for that Sunday night game, and it wasn't a bad game. It just wasn't what I thought. Now, Giants Eagles, that was a bad game.
Bad game.
Yeah, I just
terrible
felt
game.
bad. Yeah, that was
terrible. In the words of Charles Buckley, terrible. That's terrible.
We know he's watching.
Charles, big ups.
say hi to Ernie, Shaq, and Kenny for me. But
just don't push Shaq into the Christmas tree like you did a couple weeks. Well, that was Kenny Smith who pushed him into the tree.
Oh, oh man. But I don't know. I'm kind of with you. Like last week's games, I DVR'd them, and usually, candidly, I don't make a habit of doing that. But sometimes life happens, but usually I make a point to watch a good chunk of games live. But I just wasn't super compelled as I wanted to be. Whereas both of these games, I think, are going to be very good.
Yeah, I got caught up in binge watching a series last week, and I didn't want to. It got good, so I didn't really want to turn away from it. And yeah,
it's all right. You can tell us it was Velma on HBO. That's okay. You can admit that here.
I have heard my mouth a little bit.
I don't think I've heard of one person that likes that. I think it's like, man, people, it's getting ratings because people are hate watching it. That's what I've heard.
If I understand, there's going to be a second season. It's already greenlit. I'm like, how?
Man.
This is a new America. We fail upwards.
Yeah. Now, I know we usually don't get into video games and stuff on this show, but if you have HBO Max out there and you're watching Velma, you can do what you want. I'm not here to try to tell you what to do, but watch The Last of Us. Watch The Last of Us TV show. Even if you've never played the game, I've played the game. I love the game. It's one of my favorite games, like in recent memory. It's one of my favorite games ever. Watch the series watch The Last of Us. There's 2 episodes right now. It's very, very interesting, very unnerving, and they depart from the game a little bit. So if you've played the game, there's some surprises in there. But in my humble opinion, that is a much better use of your HBO Max membership.
I'm binge watching The Chosen right now. It's about it's a cinematic I say cinematic, or it's like a TV series of the life of Jesus. It's really cool.
Okay, yeah,
I
think I saw like a trailer for that on YouTube or something. It looked pretty well done.
Yeah, it's spectacular. The first episode of the first season will get you hooked.
Oh, okay. All right. Grabbed you right from the outset, huh?
So we got it. Did it? Well, I mean, as a guy who who attends church most every Sunday, and goes to worship, it's very well written, because it's not only that it's like it's biblically based, but it's also how you say this, the creators take a lot of artistic license, but
Okay.
it's a good thing. It's a good thing, because
Yeah.
they make the characters relatable, which is awesome. The dialogue's really good. All right,
That's
we gotta
good.
get to the comment section before we take a quick break. We gotta go to Wonko the Sane. He says Haven, but then I think he meant to write haven't known what to make of Philly all year. Glad for your thoughts, guys. Hey, thanks for watching, Wonko the Sane. We appreciate it. And Austin Welch says, I like Velma. Well, you're probably the only one.
Yeah, but that's okay. Like I
That's
said,
okay.
I'm
To
not
each their
here.
own. That's the beauty of
Yes,
America. To each their
yes.
own.
I'm not here, but maybe when you're done with Velma, Austin, fire up The Last of Us. It's good. It's good.
Or watch the John Wick movies. Hey, actually, it's funny. The last episode I watched of The Chosen, they had Simon the Zealot, and I was like, wow, this is like John Wick, but without guns or a dog. They're going to declare vengeance on the Romans.
Yeah.
So we're going to get the other game in just a moment. But we want to tell you, we're going to show you a quick commercial break and tell you about our friends at Invader Coffee. Where is that bloody thing? Ah, there we are. This episode of No Credentials Required is brought to you by Invader Coffee. For the coffee lover who wants good, quality coffee with no bullshit and no filler, Invader Coffee is an ultra-premium, veteran-owned coffee company proudly delivering only the best coffee your hard-earned money can buy. They aim to only serve the highest quality, organic, air-roasted coffee beans sourced from free trade farms all over the world. They keep things simple. The best coffee at an affordable price in order to provide you with the value you deserve for your morning boost. 100% fair trade, 100% organic coffee beans, 100% air roasted, 100% money back guarantee. Visit invadercoffee.com, enter promo code BELLYUP at checkout, and receive 15% off your order. That's right, folks. The good folks at Invader Coffee, they want to bring you the best quality for your morning boost. I know it does it for me. Right now, I'm digging into the tiramisu. It's awesome. It's an awesome blend. I got their Chocolate Lust, which is their limited edition Valentine's Day blend. And they also just released another limited blend. And I'm trying to
Yes. And I
find
can
what it's
tell you
called.
exactly what it is because I
Oh.
ordered it. I ordered it
Oh,
yesterday and
yes.
I used our promo code, saved myself
Yes.
a few shekels, but it is called Donut Dealer and I am very excited. That one is on the way. So, I will
Yes.
report back once I receive it.
Yes. And this is this blend is air roasted with notes of fried donut, butter, and sugar. I gotta get me some of that.
Oh yeah,
And next
you're
paycheck,
as I
I'm
know that
definitely doing
you
it.
yeah, you love donuts. We all love donuts, but I know you got a passion for donuts. You know, when we go on a our vacation trip, you always make a stop. You love a good donut. I'm as another person who loves a good donut. I'm very excited about this coffee and I always like the art on the bags. I feel like they're creative
Yeah.
with their art and their branding. Just loving the coffee.
Yeah. So shout out to Invader Coffee. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, you can find our affiliate link in the description and you get 15% off your order with the code BELLYUP. If you're listening on the podcast side, you can also find the link in that description as well. And again, use promo code BELLYUP for 15% off your order. Save some money, support the show, buy some outstanding coffee from our friends at Invader Coffee, which is also they're veteran owned. So you're not only helping a great business, but you're also helping a veteran owned business, which is very important these days.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on to Bengals Chiefs, that will be the AFC Championship game at 6:30 Eastern time at Arrowhead Stadium. This is the less talked about. I feel this is, again, like I said at the top of the show, I feel like this particular game is not talked about as much as the 49ers Eagles, but it's got some very intriguing storylines, particularly the injury of one Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
As I mentioned on Tuesday's show, as someone who has had ankle problems for a good majority of his life, it's not, ankle injuries are not fun. They're not fun. They're not funny. And I did watch a video of Patrick Mahomes kind of, I guess you wouldn't say half-assing it through warm-ups on during the week, but you can tell the ankle is kind of affecting him. I don't know how it's gonna play out on Sunday though. He did play the entire second half of the game against the Bengals. Looked really well. Looked pretty good. Had some passes that were kind of off. You could kind of tell that he wasn't stepping into his throws very well. I don't know how it's gonna be on Sunday when you're basically probably gonna have your ankle shot up before the game, taped up heavily. But this is going to be another close game, in my opinion. Dustin, what's your thought? Enough about my thoughts. What are your thoughts going into Sunday's game between the Bengals and the Chiefs?
Well, Rystradamus, and I'm sure Rystradamus, the power will, you'll make another appearance after I am done. but I can't tell you why. But I just have a gut feeling that I do think this is going to be a good game. I think the Chiefs are going to be hurt just a bit because I don't think Patrick Mahomes is going to be 100% by this game. I don't think it's going to happen. Now, we've seen some amazing performances in football. I mean, the first one that jumps to my mind in recent memory-ish, I'm dating myself here, but whether you love him or hate him, you got to shout out what Terrell Owens did in 2004 for the Eagles, coming back on a leg that he defied all the odds. Because in my opinion, the leg was like there was no way it was even 50% healed for that game. Right. But he did some amazing things. I think Patrick Mahomes, 85 to 90% of Patrick Mahomes, or even 75, is better than a lot of QBs in this league. We've seen him make some crazy passes. Like at the beginning of the Jags game, he did a jump pass basically off his back foot and it worked out fine. He can do a lot of things. I am not worried about how the Chiefs perform, but I just have a feeling, even though it's going to be a close game, even though the Chiefs defense have really stepped up their play in recent weeks, they've done some impressive things. Chris Jones, he's a sack artist out there, but I just feel like the Bengals are too hot right now, and they're playing with incredible confidence. They just knocked off the Bills in Buffalo. Mm-hmm. So they don't care that they have to go to Arrowhead. It's not going to bother them. I know Arrowhead is a tough place to play. Arrowhead doesn't quite have the mysticism that it used to have, but it's still one of the tougher places to play in the NFL. But I don't think it matters for the Bengals right now. I think you can see the confidence in Joe Burrow's eyes when he's out there. The Bengals seem to be playing with incredible chips on their shoulders. It's quite a marriage when you can have a team that plays pissed off that is also that talented. And I just think that they're on a run right now. Their defense has also played very well. And whether a lot of people are going to say, well, Buffalo wasn't really ready to play last week. Doesn't matter. I think a lot of that was because of the Bengals defense. Buffalo was one of the top offenses in the entire league. And maybe they picked a horrible time to have their worst game of the season, but you gotta credit part of that to the Bengals defense. I just think the Bengals are clicking on all cylinders, and the fact that they were able to go into Buffalo in that weather and win that game, I think they're going to do the same at Arrowhead. I think it's going to be a road victory for the Bengals here. They're going to keep this run going, and if they get to the big dance, they're going to be tough to stop.
Yeah, I think and we talked about injuries before in the playoffs. Let's not forget LaDainian Tomlinson, 2007 AFC Championship, was playing on a sprained MCL.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was yes, and that's the narrative too. A lot of people, and I remember being mad about this at the time. People were saying, "Oh, LaDainian Tomlinson, he never wants to play in the big games. His heart's not in it." You remember those Chargers The Chargers-Patriot playoff game where LaDainian Tomlinson got hurt, and there was the shot of him on the sideline. He's visibly frustrated, and people were trying to make something that he's some kind of diva or didn't want to play. That's the biggest load of crap. LaDainian Tomlinson was phenomenal, and he played his heart out as far as I'm concerned. He gave it everything he had.
And Phillip Rivers played on a torn ACL.
Yes.
He had his knee scoped that week.
Yes. I mean, that Charger team, they just were kind of snake bit. But you couldn't question their heart. And also, let's not forget, and I'm sure you remember, let's not forget what LaDainian Tomlinson did for your Jets when many thought that he was past his prime.
Yep. Absolutely. He played in 3 out of 4 AFC Championship games from 2007 to 2010.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about a guy who wanted to win. That's a guy who wanted to win. But going into this game, and you got guys playing injury. If you want to win, you play injury. That's just a fact.
Yes.
I think you made a lot of good points, Dustin, in terms of the Bengals, in terms of the Chiefs. Yes, both teams are very opportunistic on offense. They're also opportunistic on defense. I give the Bengals the advantage here because of their run game. Their run game has been phenomenal over the past 2.5 months. And it starts with the offensive line. Back in I think after week 5 of the NFL, we talked about the Bengals offensive line being a turnstile, a literal turn.
Yes.
They were having problems. They weren't gelling. And all of a sudden the switch just flipped. Just went. And this line not only was protecting Joe Burrow very well, but it was they were also run blocking exceptionally. And everybody likes to talk about Joe Burrow, all the weapons he has on his wide receivers and his tight ends. People forget the running game.
Yeah, Joe Mixon
and Samaje Perine. They forget about them. Mm-hmm. That's what makes the Bengals so exceptional. You don't have to rely on solely your quarterback for this offense to run as efficiently as it does, and it can score points. I mean, they went 14-0 in a blink of an eye in Buffalo. And by the way, again, if you're a Buffalo Bills fan and using the excuse that the white uniforms, the Bengals, shut up. Just shut up.
Yeah. That's you got Gadget Arms on that one. You're reaching. You're saying go Gadget Arms, and you're taking quite a big reach on that.
Yeah, right. You're reaching like an alligator.
Yeah.
But as I mentioned, I think the Chiefs will keep it close. It won't be like last year's game where they went up 21-3 and struggled down the stretch. This will be a tight game. And like I said last week, both these teams know how to make the best opportunity to create a turnover late in games that will affect the outcome of the game. And here we go again. I think Bengals defense is huge. In a situation where they need to absolutely get a turnover, just like last year's AFC Championship in overtime, where they picked off Patrick Mahomes, drove down the field, took the little time off the clock, kicked the field goal. They're on their way to LA. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily think they'll do it in the same fashion this time around, but I think they'll do their best to control the clock, because that's another thing too. The best way to beat the Chiefs offense, keep them off the field.
Yeah.
Keep them off the field. And I think if the Bengals can control the clock with that run game and get some timely passes from Joe Burrow to a Jamar Chase or T. Higgins or Hayden Hurst or to one of his running backs or to Tyler Boyd to keep the drive alive.
Yeah.
That's going to be the biggest difference in this game. So as for a score prediction, I'm going to say Bengals 31, Chiefs 21.
Oh, okay. All right.
I think the Bengals will do what they did last week against the Bills and punch the Chiefs in the mouth very early, and it's going to be very tough for the Chiefs. And don't forget the Chiefs. Even though they've been in the last 5 AFC Championship games, they've lost 2 of them at home.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's not necessarily the dominant home record that you're hoping for. Um, I have a bit of a for some reason when I was thinking about the score in this game, I must have a thing with field goals because I'm going 24-21 Bengals. And but the thing I do want to say though is, and I'm just curious, and I know we're kind of blending a little bit of off season. Well, I am doing it. I am doing it now. I'm going to blend a little bit of off-season speculation with commenting. A few years ago, the Chiefs drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire to be their guy, and it is clear they are relying. Isaiah Pacheco looks amazing. He's got a burst of speed. There was a play in the I can't remember if it was in the Jags game. I believe it was.
It was the Jags game, yeah. It was last week.
He just had this burst of speed where it was almost like somebody pressed the turbo button on Madden. He took off.
Yeah.
Isaiah Pacheco looks like he could be the running back of their future. And I think they're going to re-sign Jerick McKinnon because before that game, they were commenting about how Patrick Mahomes loves having Jerick McKinnon in there for blocking. And it was almost on cue. Jerick McKinnon, who's not a big guy compared to he's bigger than me, obviously, but he's not a big guy compared to some of the other players in the NFL. He absolutely demolished somebody who was coming in to try to get a sack on Patrick Mahomes. So I think they re-signed Jerick McKinnon for his blocking abilities. Where does that leave Clyde Edwards-Helaire? I think he's on another team next season.
Well, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is on a rookie deal, so I think he'll stay in the lineup. I mean, part of the reason why Pacheco is getting so many touches is because Clyde Edwards-Helaire was, I think he was on IR for the last part of the season, which is why you've seen the emergence of Isaac Pacheco. But yeah, I mean, you've got we've both got the Bengals.
I know.
We've both got the Eagles, and you know what? Again, I wouldn't be surprised if all four of these teams, any of these four teams, get in 2 weeks in Glendale. I won't be disappointed. Again, I just want good games. I just want not good games. I want great games.
Yes,
I want memorable games. That's what I want this weekend.
And the good thing is that looking ahead just a little bit, I wouldn't be disappointed with any of the teams that end up in the Super Bowl, whether it's Chiefs versus the Niners or Chiefs versus the Eagles or Bengals versus the Niners or Bengals versus the Eagles. None of those are disappointing Super Bowl scenarios for me.
No. I think all these will be, no matter who plays on February 10th or February 12th, excuse me, we won't have a disappointing game.
Yeah.
We're going to have our final thoughts, but before we do that, we're going to have another quick ad break from our friends at Belly Up Sports at True Classic.
Football is back, baby, and our new sponsor, True Classic, wants you to look and feel your best even after a couple of brewskis or going full force on your fantasy football draft. Sure, it's football season, but it's also butt to couch season. Luckily, True Classic has the absolute best fitting clothing a man can buy. Snug in the arms and chest with a little extra space in the torso, their t-shirts are designed to keep you cozy and highlight your best assets no matter what you're up to. So if your special someone is upset that you're watching football all day, at least you can look good doing it. True Classic has already helped over 2 million men find the perfect fit at an affordable price. Our listeners get access to the best deal they offer. For a limited time only, get 25% off with the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY at TrueClassic.com. Almost all men's t-shirts are designed to look good on skinny models with six-packs, but most of us aren't packing anything but a few beers. Fellas, you are wearing the wrong clothes. True Classic tees taper off towards the bottom, but they fit tighter around the chest and shoulders. It's time to highlight your best attributes with a t-shirt you can always confidently throw on. It's about time to get your fit together, so upgrade your wardrobe with True Classic and get 25% off at TrueClassic.com with promo code BELLYUPFANTASY. Free shipping included on purchases over $100. That's 25% off at TrueClassic.com with the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY. If there's one bet you should make this football season, it's on True Classic. True Classic, look good, feel good.
That's right, folks. Using the promo code BellyUpFantasy, you get 25% off your order at True Classic. Sounds like a great deal to me.
Oh yeah, definitely. 25% off. That's a bargain.
That's a bargain and a half.
Yeah.
Got a couple more comments before we close out the show. First from Wanko the Saint says the Bengals' second half adjustments are crazy. Very underrated defensive coordinator. Yes, absolutely. They're not only their defensive coordinator, but their offensive coordinator. I think either one of them will get job consideration in the off season. And we got Snowman chicken in. Let's go Niners. Yeah, I mean, hey, love to see people support their team on this channel. And I know Snowman's very excited for Sunday. Also mentioned a little bit of nervousness, but
Yeah.
I think it's for any team that's got a big game coming up. It's not a bad thing to have those nerves.
Oh no.
Because you want your team to do well,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you don't want to see them get blown out.
That's a natural reaction, and I'm gonna let the audience here in on a little glimpse of my psychoses. When the Seahawks were going to play the Broncos in the Super Bowl, I remember calling my mom up in the morning, and we were talking. My mom and I used to talk quite a bit during the week on the phone, and she said, "How are you feeling? Because your Seahawks they're about to play a big game." And I said, Mom, I'm going to be honest with you. I said, I feel like I used to feel before a math test in school. Like I am very nervous. I was extremely nervous. And she's like, she's reassuring me. She's like, I think they're going to do good. And she didn't care much for football, but she watched a little bit because she knew how much it mattered to me that the Seahawks were there. And she was like, I was watching something this morning and they said that the Denver Broncos seemed nervous, that Peyton Manning seemed nervous. I hope you're right. And guess what? It turned out she was, but I was nervous as for that game. And I'm like, why am I getting so crazy over this? But I think it's a complete natural reaction.
I have a story from AFC championship games of past 2010, the Jets and the Steelers. Coming into this game, we watched the Packers win. they beat the Bears. I think that earlier that day, and winner this game is going to play the Packers. First half of the Jets did, it was not great. Let's put it this way. That first half, I was furious. I was outside my mind. I saw the Jets making so many mistakes. I saw the Steelers, of course, the home crowd at Heinz Field. I refuse to call it by the other name, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Heinz Field always.
They had the home crowd behind them, the terrible towels. I think it was I remember a safety blitz and Mark Sanchez just gets knocked. I wouldn't say knocked out, but he got hit hard.
Yeah.
And Steelers took it back for a touchdown. At that point, it's 24-3. And I'm like, well, here we go again. And I just stayed silent. I did not speak. Several members of my family will attest to this. My sister Shannon will attest to this. My dad, my mom, my brother Jeremy, they will attest to this. I did not say a word from halftime all the way up to the last down when Ben Roethlisberger got that through that third and 4. It was close down.
Mm-hmm.
The Jets had to stop them in order to get the ball back because they had rallied. They had rallied from 21 points down, and they need to get the ball back to have a chance to get to try to tie the score. Unfortunately, after Ben threw that pass to Antonio Brown that sealed the game, mm-hmm. I couldn't. Oh my goodness, I couldn't take it. I was just like, all right, well, this is how it's gonna be. This is the life of a Jets fan.
Yeah,
always never get close. Never get close. They haven't been back since.
Yeah, that's tough. But you know what? I and this is not just saying this because you're Rystradamus, you're my co-host, you're my friend, but I think the Jets I think they're building something, and I think you'll start to see the turnaround. Your patience will be rewarded, my friend.
I hope so. I hope so. I mean, I'm 45 years old. Before I die, I just want to see the Jets go to the Super Bowl once. I don't care if they win. I just want to see them go to the Super Bowl once. Hopefully, I'll have it someday.
Yeah.
But I will talk about the Jets hiring Nathaniel Hackett on Tuesday. I don't want to go into it now because we're concentrating on the conference championships. But
Yes.
I'll give my feelings a little bit more right now. All I can say is that half the fan base right now is thinking about his dad, Paul Hackett,
Oh
and how
man.
he kind of crapped the bed when it came to being the offensive coordinator. Not necessarily his fault, by the way. If you have bad personnel, you're not going to execute.
Yeah.
But half the fan base is like, "Oh, he's related to Paul Hackett. He won't make it in this city." It's like, hey, if you think that way, you're thinking in the past.
Yeah.
Don't think in the past. Think now. What can you
Yeah.
do for the team now? And they hired a new offensive line coach, who was the offensive line coach in Tennessee before he got fired this past season. After
Oh,
the
okay.
season. So I have some big plans. We have some big plans in that regard. But I need some more time to kind of think about this a little bit more. I'll give my thoughts on Snowman at 8:35 a.m. on Monday. I'll give my thoughts on Tuesday's show. But for now, we're going to wrap things up. I got one more comment from Wonk on the Saints. Says, "Oh no, the 49ers are going to beat the Bengals by 4 points for the third time in a row, twice in the 80s. LOL." Yeah, I remember succinctly that Super Bowl 22 game when Joe Montana had that game-winning drive.
Yes.
And if I remember the story correctly, it was in Miami. It was at Joe Robbie Stadium, which is now Hard Rock Stadium. And Joe Montana was so cool and so collected. That's why they call him Joe Cool. He was so calm and collected that when they went into the huddle with less than 2 minutes left in the game, he looked down at the far end zone and he said, "Hey, isn't that John Candy over there?"
Oh yeah, I heard that story.
Everybody down.
Yeah.
And they went down the field and they scored the game-winning touchdown to John Taylor. That was one of the stories I remember from Super Bowl.
And am I thinking is this the correct, and obviously I was not watching the Super Bowl back then because I think it would have been like impossible because that game was 82, right?
Yes, that I don't think you were alive then. I was
Yeah,
probably
I was not.
4.
I was not. So, but I think if I remember from watching recaps of games over the years and things like that, I think was that the game where Joe Walsh was incredibly, or Joe Walsh,
Bill Walsh.
Bill Walsh was incredibly motivated to beat the Bengals because there were rumors that the Wycheck, the Niners were looking at, or they were trying to choose between Bill Walsh and Wycheck ended up getting the job. There was something there. I can't remember, but apparently that game meant a whole heck of a lot to Bill Walsh because he wanted to prove a point. He wanted to.
You're thinking of Sam Weish.
Sam Weish. That's what it is.
Frank Wycheck was the tight end of the Tennessee Titans.
Oh yeah, no, that's my late '90s, early 2000s football coming through. And yes, Sam Weish. Yes, thanks for the correction there.
Oh, no problem. I couldn't think of it myself. I'm like, Wycheck.
Yeah, no, I'm screwing it. I'm screwing everything up.
Hey, the beauty of a live stream is like you mess up, but that's okay.
Yes, that's the thing. We're trying to do it all from the dome, folks. We don't have like producers saying stuff in our ears and things.
Yes, because we're self-produced.
Yeah,
or something. Anyhow.
And also, thanks to your eloquent tease on Tuesday, I would also like to talk about something. The head coaching hire in Carolina. I have some thoughts on that as well. Some of you, if you've been watching some of the coverage, you can probably figure out where I'm going to go with this. And also, if you know my history of praising the job that Steve Wilkes did taking over that team this season, you'll know what I'm going to talk about. But tune in on Tuesday and check it out.
Right. Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. It's our regular show. But in the meantime, we're going to take off. We're just going to enjoy our Friday nights, respective Friday nights. But before you do that, go to our social channels, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at NoCredsREQ, Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ. On YouTube, it's YouTube.com/@NoCredsREQ. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, smash that like button, smash it good, but also smash responsibly. And while you're at it on YouTube, hit the notification bell. That way you are notified when we go live or we produce another video. We got some ideas. Some ideas cooking in the lab. There's some pretty fun non-live stream videos.
Ooh, nice.
Right.
Nice.
I got ideas. On the podcast side, Megaphone is our home base, but you can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Play, iHeartRadio, wherever you podcast. Find us there. Subscribe, get notified, and again, rate and review 5 stars, always preferred. And if you leave a nice review, we may even read it on the air to everyone who has watched live. Or if you're watching on replay and you leave comments, we appreciate you watching. And you have been watching or listening to No Credentials Required. And hey, Bishop Bullwinkle, do you need a press pass to talk sports? Whoa!
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Yeah, to the no, hell to the no, to the no, no, no. Listen.
Caught up in the spirit again. But anyway, folks, thank you for watching or listening to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We're presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Godzilla Media in the Capital Region. For Dustin Henry, my broadcast partner, my name is Ryan McCarthy. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you back here on Tuesday night as we break down the conference championships. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Good night, everybody.